Market conditions remaining bearish in a bull market, continuing to see some pretty broad-based selling. We saw the momentum indicator move all the way to the far edge of the extreme range now, and breadth also continuing to decline here now at 28, and sentiment still sitting right around these ranges right here, and that's fine. When we see these kind of setups, when we see sentiment still high in these levels, and we're seeing breadth continue to move lower, and then momentum to the extreme, oftentimes now we're still in this overall uptrend. Here, you can see from here to here, all we've retraced is just this amount right now. So we're still in that upper momentum zone. Let's look at that chart here in just a minute. But we are seeing really wide buy-sell ratios now at this point. It stayed right about where it was yesterday. Let's take a look here. We're at 0.10 on the 17th and the 16th, 0.10 as well. So pretty wide, pretty extended. We're definitely down here when we utilize the buy-sell ratio together. When we're wide this direction, we have bearish activity happening here, which is red above green. And then we also look at that. So this is the number of buys and sells. And then we also have just the sentiment of S&P right here as well. So we're entering that extreme zone to the downside. And also on volatility, we're seeing it pop to this upside, and lots of different things happening here. We're at this extreme in this overall uptrend. S&P 500 chart pattern, you can see we're right at this support area now. So we are extreme to the downside, and we're sitting right at this support range. And also in that 236 area, a NASDAQ is sitting right at that area as well. Let's take a look at that chart. You can see a real key area coming up here over the next few days for all of the major markets. This is NASDAQ 100 sitting right here at this support in that upper momentum range, and S&P sitting right there as well. The Dow breaking through that a couple of days ago, but kind of holding steady at this range also. You can see this support area over here as we draw a straight line across this area here. You can see we're at support. So we're at major support across Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ, and extreme to the downside right here. So when that starts to happen, there's no selling, there's no sellers left. There certainly could be, but these are demand zones where we could see some buying start to come back into the market. We do see sector ETFs pretty ugly across the board right here now, even energy also pulling back down here. You can see these retracements. A lot of these retracements are still just pullbacks in this overall uptrend. That's what we want to see right here, is if we're going to see some additional buying start to come into the market now that we are pretty extreme to the downside. Commodities, gold is still holding up, not moving a whole lot here in the last few days, but in that upper range. USO, oil had a pretty decent pullback yesterday back to this major support right around 78.95. We'll see if oil holds up or if it starts to slip back to the downside as well. So if we see oil starting to retrace, so here's another perspective. If we see oil start to retrace and we start to see the extremes now on equities to the downside, that's one of the points of utilizing this sentiment indicator here, is to see here's what equities are doing, here's what bonds are doing. So we have bonds down to the downside as well, which we want to see bonds move higher. We want to see equities also move higher, and we want to see oil move lower. Okay, so those are the trends of the sentiment is actually, setting up for that kind of a scenario. If we take a look going back here to, we looked at commodities. Let's jump into the muscle stocks group. A couple of nice looking patterns here as well. STTK, a medical stock, BioMedical stock, stuck right here in this upper range. Really lots of support you can see. And in a momentum style, when you get some of this whipsaw action towards the upper end of these ranges, you can get some whipsaw false signals unfolding there as well. And that seems to be the case here. But we'll see one of these, if they wants to hold support and continue to break out to the upside, could certainly happen right here. And then USAP, which is in the steel sector, nice confirmation bar, nice volume for that signal for yesterday. So a few stocks there, a few more entering into that muscle stocks group in that scan for you to consider today. That also might be an indication that we are seeing some new demand coming back into stocks here at these levels. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.